everyone. Welcome once again to another episode of
Zeng This.
You've got me, Zenger.
And I'm Ellie.
And as always, we're going to start with news.
Well, of course, we have to start with news.
I know, and there's a lot to talk about. And we went and saw a movie, but that will come up later.
Yay! Yes, we did.
So, remember the show Invader Zim?
Oh, yeah. Most definitely.
Well, apparently it's coming back for a TV movie of some sort soon. So
that'll be fun.
So that's kind of exciting for people who are fans of that.
Yes.
Definitely, I know that there's a lot of them out there, diehard fans of Zim and Gur. Gur's the robot. I was trying to remember what the robot's name was. It slipped my mind for a second.
Oh, yes.
So that's definitely something that I know a lot of people are looking forward to.
Yes.
Got some Star Wars news, and by the way, episode 3 of our Star Wars ongoing year-long celebration will be out later this week, so look forward to that. And we have kind of decided on what we're going to do for the in-between the trilogy episodes, too. So, do you want to discuss that now or in the actual Star Wars episode?
I mean, we can kind of go over it really quick now. It's fine.
So, as you all know, if you're Star Wars fans, this isn't the news part. I'll get to the news in a second.
It's our news.
As you all know, for Star Wars fans, there is what's now considered Legends, which was the, comic books, video games, and all the stuff that...
Not in canon.
Yeah, that Disney, once Disney took over, is no longer considered canon. Well, since we have those 2 episodes that we're doing for our Star Wars celebration, where we're trying to break up the 2 trilogies that there are, we decided to insert after episode 3 and before Rogue One, us discussing Legends content.
Yeah.
So, we'll definitely, if you guys want to tweet at us or message us with your favorite stuff from the Legends of Star Wars, we will definitely appreciate.
He's doing air quotes right now. You can't see it.
We definitely appreciate that because we want to talk about some stuff that we loved from Legends. And like I said, me and you were discussing this the other day, and you said, well, what's really Legends? And I said, well, it's this, but here's the thing. Disney could technically say, this is actually canon now.
Right.
So this isn't like a definitive... Yeah, I mean, this isn't a definitive thing, but there's stuff that's more than likely probably going to stay Legend. So we're going to have a fun discussion on that, and that will be in May.
Yes.
So look forward to that, and we'll, of course, have more news about that in our Star Wars episode. But on to the Star Wars news.
Yes.
So, big thing. So, sadly, Carrie Fisher, of course, has passed on, has become one with the Force.
Correct.
And apparently she will still be in episode 9.
Okay.
And they have said that they are not using any CG to bring her into it. They are not going to recreate her using that. So I'm assuming they're going to be using scenes or cut stuff, or maybe they've already filmed enough stuff for her characters.
Yeah, that's what I was
plot.
thinking.
So I think that's interesting. And they do have the blessings of her family to do this.
Okay.
So there's that too. So that's really cool that she will somehow be still involved in the 3rd trilogy as well, through all 3 movies in some way, shape, or form. The other thing that's interesting is it's, of course, the 40th anniversary of A New Hope.
Okay.
Interesting thing. Yeah. Yep. So another interesting thing is there's apparently going to be a book coming out later on this year, which we possibly could discuss in the second one of our After the Trilogy episodes, where we're going to talk about canon stuff. Mm-hmm. That is actually supposed to be from the point of view of different people during the Star Wars series. It's a book written from different points of view of other people that are not major characters.
Oh,
so like other pilots.
Sounds pretty interesting.
Yeah, it does. It really does broaden the Star Wars universe, and it's a great title. It's Star Wars from a certain point of view.
Okay.
Which is a quote that, of course, Obi-Wan says. When Luke says, you lied to me or you didn't tell me about my father, he says, well, what I told you was true from a certain point of view.
Okay.
Which, of course, it kind of defeated my whole anger towards the prequels, but I think I've already discussed that once before. So,
okay.
So that's really cool. So we'll, of course, have more Star Wars stuff later on this week. Listen to our episode 3.
Yes, please.
And I guess...
Why are we whispering?
Michael Bay sound. That was intense. But I need to have a Michael Bay sound, which, of course, the only sound you can make for Michael Bay is an explosion.
Oh, yeah.
Because I've got Transformers news on the movie. Apparently, they have a 10 years worth of movies planned out. And I don't know if that's a movie out every year.
I'm going to say every other.
I don't know what it is, but apparently they do have something kind of some structure planned out for the next 10 years for Transformers.
Wow. Well, they are money makers.
Yes,
for sure.
as a fan of the Transformers, of course, I
like Prime, by the way.
You keep saying that.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to watch it.
Yeah, I like that. That's a cartoon, by the way. If you
Sorry,
don't, if you
Gen.
don't know.
I'm still Gen 1 fan and the original movie.
Oh well, no, I love those too. I just think for a different take on it, it's interesting. I like it.
Speaking of a different take, I know there is a very big fan base for the Beast Wars, which I have nothing against Beast Wars. I just never got into it.
Okay.
And I know there's a huge fan following out there.
Well,
there for it. So who knows? Maybe one of these movies that they have in the next 10
the
years.
Trailer.
Oh, for the new one?
Yeah. The Last Night.
Yes.
Okay. It looks pretty intense.
Well, it's supposed to. I'm guessing Unicron's in it. Prime somehow has been turned evil or something. I don't know. It's going to be some confusing over the top explosion-ridden plot. So
right. We don't care about the storyline.
Just show me explosions and transforming giant robots.
Exactly. That's what we want.
So that's exciting.
Yeah.
But now on to, of course, the
Well,
Bane
can I go back again real quick? I'm sorry.
Sure.
The one part in the trailer where he's kind of floating off in space and all crystallized and stuff.
Prime.
It's pretty eerie, yeah.
Yeah, I think he gets found by... My guess is he gets found by... This is my prediction. He gets found by Unicron. Unicron corrupts him and kind of sends him to Earth to basically fight everyone. And apparently Megatron's still putting around, which is weird because I thought it was Galvatron now, but who knows? I don't know. The continuity of these movies is getting convoluted.
It's some kind of Tron.
I feel that one day we should watch all of them and have just a full-blown discussion on it.
Oh my gosh, yes.
But that
I don't think I can handle it I'd have to break it up in a couple days.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I mean, like I said, I'd like the Transformers movies. Am I upset with what they've done with them? I really don't care because the Transformers for me is Gen 1. That's my Transformers, to be honest. The movies are cool. I just don't harbor them as like paragons of what I need to hold Transformers to. But moving on to now the bane of my existence. Get it? I said Bane.
Oh, jeez. Batman.
Yes. Well, DC news. DC news. And I say that, and I still love DC, but here's the thing. Allegedly, this is a legend now. I'm sure it will be proven correct immediately after this podcast comes out, but apparently 2019 is going to be a very active year for Batman.
Okay. Yes.
It is the 80th anniversary of the Batman comics.
Wow. Yeah.
We allegedly are going to get Gotham City Sirens.
Yes.
Followed by Nightwing.
Oh, bring it on.
Followed by Batgirl.
Cool.
Concluding with Batman.
Well, of course.
So they're supposed to be building...
All in the same year?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Yes. Allegedly, that's what DC possibly has planned for Batman that year.
Okay.
So who knows? I mean, that's not that far away when it comes to making movies, technically. So I guess we'll see what this summer brings and everything. I mean,
I'm going to say pretty excited. That would be pretty fun.
I mean, it would be a good way for them to, hopefully, if DC hasn't gotten on track yet, maybe that will help them get on track. Mm-hmm. But hopefully Justice League and Wonder Woman will help them along.
I want a Nightwing movie, so.
Well, it would be cool to get this, because this is stuff we haven't seen. I mean, I guess we've technically seen Batgirl to an extent, but it would be cool to have it, because it's supposed to all kind of lead up to the Batman movie.
Now, are you concerned that the movies leading up to the Batman are just kind of set up for Batman?
See, that's the thing. I'm hoping...
That's my only concern.
I'm hoping they can stand alone.
Yeah.
Or possibly kind of interweave together enough to where you're not stealing from anything.
Right. So that's what I'm saying.
I want them to work as in... We know that they all exist together and they kind of cohesively go together, but not as in... They can still
stand alone.
But not as in... Oh, I didn't watch Gotham. I didn't watch Sirens, so I'm not going to get something in Batgirl. It's one of those. It contributes as it goes along. Same thing with the Marvel. What Marvel's done.
Right.
Not to make that comparison, but I kind of have to. Marvel's done a very good job, I think, of building on each other to an extent. Some movies, obviously, you have to see the previous one to get.
So you could make a reference, to be fair to DC. You could make a reference, like we've said before, to the TV shows, kind of how those main 4 DC TV shows kind of build on each other. They are standalone, but they cross over well.
Or instead of the live action ones, why not their animated ones that they did, the ones they did back in the late 90s or during the 90s, the
and
Batman.
a new Teen Titans movie came out.
Yes, the Judas Contract.
I'm excited. I haven't seen it yet. I'm
which
sorry.
It came out digitally. I don't think the physical copy's out yet.
Right. I still want to see it though.
But that one is supposed to be also. You're getting sidetracked. That was a continuation to the.
I was thinking of Nightwing and DC and Batman, and it just made me think of Teen Titans.
That one's apparently a continuation to the previous one, which is they're building their whole animated. But I got some news on the animated front too.
Okay.
You're getting me sidetracked.
I'm sorry.
And it's DC news, so there's a lot to talk about normally.
Okay.
But actually, I'll just jump to that now. Okay. So apparently also in 2019, we're supposed to be getting 2 DC animated movies. One of them being possibly an adaptation of the Long Halloween graphic novel, which is a really, really good Batman graphic novel, which, who knows, we could do that on Read This at some point, possibly.
Read this / watch this.
Yes. We'll have to wait a few years then to do it.
Okay, right, sorry. Correct. We don't want to wait that long.
But I'd be excited to see a adaptation of that, which they can, of course, do a fantastic job. I think the art would be interesting if they stuck to the artwork that they utilize in the graphic novel. But who knows? We'll see what they do. All right. Oh, and one last piece of, I guess, since we mentioned it before, Mel Gibson apparently is no longer the front runner for the Suicide Squad 2.
What? Are you serious?
Yeah.
I'm not going to see it now.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, he might. Who knows what's going to happen?
Just kidding.
Who knows what's going to happen? But I guess that's our DC news, and I guess that wraps up our news for today on that front.
Okay.
But now we get to discuss Go
Power Rangers.
Yeah.
Woo!
So we went to go see the Power Rangers movie.
Oh my gosh, yes we did.
I guess, are we going to say that this will have spoilers in it?
Well, yeah.
Okay, so if you haven't seen it yet, we'll mention when we get to spoilers, but we'll try to keep it fun until then.
Right.
Even though I don't think there is a big spoiler. I don't know if there is really.
Yeah. Has to do with some certain circular sweet treats.
Oh, yeah, that. So, what did you think? What did you take away from it?
So, I went into it understanding that it is not a Oscar caliber movie, right?
No, of course.
Okay. So, I just went into it just enjoying the fun, nostalgic times of when I was younger, and a story about a group of teens that, come together to beat the baddie kind of thing. So I was entertained. I thought it had a nice flow of backstory leading into fight. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I feel like I feel like it had to kind of establish that them as a team. They had to get together and learn about each other and that kind of thing. So I liked the story enough. I thought that was great for people that are fans of the series, and I think it's great for kids nowadays. That maybe have never seen it before.
Maybe a little bit older kid. I felt it was a little bit targeted at possibly like a teenage audience and up. Like a preteen audience and up.
Maybe I would say more preteen than teen, because the preteens can look at it and go, "Oh, they're so cool."
I mean, you can definitely still take kids and everything. It's just they have some moments in there that
there are some moments, but I think that most heavy. Of them it would go over their head. Like for the younger kids, I think it would still be vague enough to where they wouldn't quite get it. So I don't think it's going to affect them.
Okay.
You know what I'm trying to say.
I just wanted to put that out there.
Yes.
Just as it's definitely a movie for the fans. I enjoyed it thoroughly. It was not some, as you said, it's not something I'm expecting to go in and it to win every award out there.
No,
it was a fun, have a giant tub of
popcorn. You have to take it lighthearted.
It's a fun, have a giant tub of popcorn, eat a giant tub of popcorn while watching it, excited. And I just like to say, I mean, I don't know if this is spoilery or not, but I felt it had a good message through the entire movie that, it's that these kids kind of came together, all of them are from different backgrounds, different ethnicities, different upbringings, different everything. Like they definitely did a great job of bringing these kids together, and kind of that I thought was a very positive message within the movie.
The message of unlikely heroes.
Yes, and
people that you don't have to be some goody two shoe, blah blah blah.
And that's the other thing. Okay, we're gonna move into spoiler territory. That's the other thing. I felt like they were we supposed to be good-hearted to be a Power Ranger or not? I can't remember, because a few of these kids are kind of, not evil, but just some of the stuff they did, you're like, really?
Well, they still did the whole when the
well, they kind of redeemed themselves in the end for everything they did, I guess.
And they did still keep to the green is for loyalty. Like, it was obvious they still kept to the certain colors, as red is the leader, and that sort of thing. So it's. I liked it. I thought it was interesting, but please, can we get to the elephant in the room?
Well, one more thing before we get to that. So this is kind of pointed out at the very beginning of the movie, so I don't think I'm spoiling this. But if you have listened to the podcast before, I'm pretty sure I made this prediction that even though it's blatantly obvious, apparently, that Rita is the Green Ranger. Mm-hmm. And kind of confirmed pretty quickly in the movie that is true.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
that's true, but they also kind of left it set up when they're calling a certain person's name at the end of the movie, Tommy. Mm-hmm. So who knows because they're supposed to be doing 5 movies, I think, total on this. I think they're supposed to be
several,
5.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they obviously can go places with this.
That's why I was okay with it taking a while to get to the fight.
Yeah,
because I know there's more coming.
That's the only complaint I had, is I felt it took a while for them to actually morph and do stuff. But
it did.
At the same time,
but I think it's trying to shove down your throat
the team building, the unity of the
and you earn the right to do it. It's not just given to you.
Yeah.
So the whole, if you put in the work, you reap the benefits kind of thing.
So I guess we'll talk about the big...
Oh, me.
Okay, go for it.
Okay. So, I don't know if I've ever talked about this on the podcast, but there's a certain donut franchise that I absolutely love.
This has not been mentioned yet.
Okay, so love Krispy Kreme. And I just want to know, how much money did Krispy Kreme pay to be such an integral part to this movie?
I know it's not something you would have seen in the trailers at all, and I know that there was some advertising done at Krispy Kreme for this, but
I never thought it was.
But I never. There's entire parts of the movie that take place in Krispy Kreme, and there's an entire plot point that revolves around Krispy Kreme.
So there's this part later in the movie where Rita is speaking with Billy.
There's a.
Oh.
No, go ahead. You just reminded me of something that was great.
Sorry. So Rita's having a discussion with Billy. Mm-hmm. She's trying to find out where the
magic MacGuffin that everyone's after.
Yes. So, and he basically tells her it's at the Krispy Kreme, right? So I'm sitting here going, "Oh, that's cool. That's cool." They keep going, and then she says, "This Krispy Kreme." Don't quote me word for word, but this is a summation of it. But she basically was like, "So this Krispy Kreme is quite a special place."
It's crispy of cream.
I thought I would die. I'm like, yes, it is very special. Maybe not to the extent that you think is special, but it's pretty special to me. So it was just kind of comical, like just all the jokes and the talking about how special Krispy Kreme is, and I thought it was hilarious. I liked it.
So something that I wanted to point out is it is very referential to the original material. They have all the Zords running in a row like they did in TV series over Go-Go Power Ranger.
And the slow walking of them together are very similar to what they did in the show.
There's also, Rita does say at one point, "Make my monster grow." Mm-hmm. or make my monster big. She says something about
Yeah.
that when Goldar is coming together. So that's that, and of course Goldar's in it. Bulk and Skull weren't in it, unless I completely missed it. And I even asked you, and you kind of shrugged and were like, I don't know.
If they were, it was lost on me.
Or it wasn't. It might have been one of the bullies, and it just never got mentioned.
There was the one red-haired bully guy that was in the beginning scene that was picking on Billy, and then he's thrown in the car later during the fight scene. So,
Yeah.
but it wasn't that same.
If it said his name, maybe I just missed it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not essential. It's just Bulk and Skull are kind of something that when I think of the original
series.
yeah, it was in there.
Yes.
I did like how Angel Grove wasn't a giant city, or because I felt like in the TV show, and I know this is me nitpicking at a adaptation of a Japanese show for kids, but it seemed like the city changed size drastically. I'm talking about the show. I'm not talking about the movie now. They were in some like little park area, and the next thing you know, they got skyscrapers, and they're basically fighting in downtown Manhattan against giant monsters.
Now, they did fight a lot in the like construction area thingy.
They did fight there, and of course Ed Putty, so that was a nice reference. Then they fought downtown, but it wasn't like the city all of a sudden became skyscrapers out of nowhere.
Oh, no, yeah, you're correct. It was a small hometown type thing.
Which I kind of like, that they had to protect their own little small town.
Yeah.
And fun fact, this is a fun fact. This is the second time that Bryan Cranston's been involved in a Power Rangers of some sort. He was actually a voice of one of the bad guys on the original show.
Okay.
So he's lent his voice twice now to Power Rangers. So that's kind of, there's your fun fact for the day. I don't know if everyone knows about that. But,
nice.
But yeah, so I mean, like I said, if it's something...
And are we still in the spoiler thing?
Yeah, sure, why not?
I mean, I really did like the little nudge to the green/white ranger and the pink ranger.
Oh, because they had they had the actual two
Yeah.
actors at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Wearing actual green and pink.
Of course.
So...
Yes, it was kind of cute. It was fun.
So I like, I don't know. It was a good movie. Is it the best movie of all time? No. Is it a good adaptation of something from my childhood?
It was just fun.
It was
I got
fun.
excited. I really did enjoy it. It was fun. I was singing in the movie.
You were like punching me too at times. You're like, oh, this is the
Singer
scene.
is
This
like,
is the scene.
oh my gosh, you're such a dork.
But no, I mean, it's definitely. I mean, it's like I said, not the best movie of the year by any means, but
Yes.
definitely a good nostalgia movie.
Yeah, it was fun.
If you like the original series, I'd definitely go check this out. And if you haven't seen the original series and go see this, then I guess enjoy it. I don't know why you would go see this out of never.
I don't
what the
think
Power
you're going to
Rangers are.
enjoy it as much.
Yeah.
If it's not as...
I feel that this is a true for the fans movie.
Yes.
Yes, so that's our discussion on Power Rangers. Who knows? We might talk about it again when some other stuff gets announced, but that was our little conversation with that. So I guess let's take a quick break, and when we come back, something different.
Yeah.
It's Saturday. We have a lazy day to ourselves. What shall we do? I know. Let's check out what's at the video rental store. Oh, those hardly exist anymore. Hey, why don't we catch up with Jax at Saturday Morning Pajamas? We can hear all about some good old-fashioned movie classics, cult classics, favorites, and... well, all of them can't be masterpieces, but we can hear about those ones too. Sometimes Jax even talks about TV, video games, books, and more. To nonoms.net we go. Where? www.nonoms.net. Saturday Morning Pajamas also available on iTunes, Google Play Music, Stitcher, TuneIn, Podbean Player, and more.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. We have a topic today that we'll get to. Due to some scheduling conflicts and some other stuff, we actually have to record our main topic on Monday today. But luckily, I avoided the usual some announcement that happens on Monday, and it was the Thor Ragnarok trailer. So we got a special opportunity to talk about this real quick before we get into our main topic. So, what did you think of it, Ellie?
It's pretty awesome. Love Loki, love Thor.
I like that his helmet is now just the band. It looks like
And
with
I
the
like
horns
the way
coming
he
up.
like,
The
yeah, he
flipping
like
the-
flipped it up. Well,
Oh, no,
The
no, no, no,
helmet.
no. I was talking about Loki's helmet. If you noticed, he's got his hair coming down over it to where it's just like a band with the two
Yeah.
horns. But yes, Thor's helmet where he puts it on and he pulls it down. It has little wings.
Yeah, that was awesome.
So that was cool. I like it. A lot of story elements look like it's in here. Apparently his hammer gets destroyed, which is
Right.
interesting. Of course, Hulk's in it.
Yeah.
A lot of questions on what's going on. Hela's apparently ridiculously powerful. Heimdall was, I think, going to be a big part of this because Heimdall's very powerful, but maybe that's some link to Odin.
And I love he's a friend of mine.
Yeah.
He's like, yes.
Yeah, Thor, when the Hulk comes out, he's like, oh, we're friends from work. We work together.
That was
So
awesome.
that was cool, and of course we got to see Jeff Goldblum. I'm excited, but I'm not going to delve into this too much. We can save that for next week's podcast.
Holy 80s?
Yes, I feel like the entire Marvel space universe just takes place in the 1980s, like
Which is
for
fine.
everything.
It's
But
okay.
I'm guaranteeing that's just because they're trying to key in on the Guardians of the Galaxy
Yeah.
motif. So maybe that's what it is. I don't have a problem with that. I just found it kind of funny. But that's just our quick. We'll have more on that next week.
Yes.
We promise we'll have more on that next week. But we need to get to our topic
Yes.
today. Which, Ellie, would you like to?
I would love to. So I thought it would be kind of fun. Well, I guess we thought it would be kind of fun.
Yes.
To kind of talk about, we always focus on American comics, American
Mm-hmm.
superheroes, all that stuff.
So let's clarify something real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the topic, of course, if you want to say it.
Yeah. Just here, superheroes are comics that originated from other countries other than the United States.
So just to clarify this real quick, for an example, the comic Scott Pilgrim. Scott Pilgrim is Canadian and it's based in Canada. The comic, however, is a U.S.-based comic, so
Right.
that would not count for this discussion.
Correct. Or mangas from
Or
Japan.
mangas from Japan are not counted in this discussion because that's a conversation for another day. We are talking about comics that have their origins or that were released in other countries primarily.
Right. Comics are superheroes.
Yes.
They may not necessarily have, a true comic, but a superhero.
And some of these were actually comic strips too.
Yes.
So I'm going to point that out because I know a few of mine. Some countries it was a little hard to find stuff on.
Right.
But yeah. So let's. I don't know if we want to start geographically somewhere or just kind of shoot from the hip on this.
Just dive into it.
Got you. Go for it then.
Okay. I noticed, I don't know about you, but a lot of them that I saw and, got some information about, it seems like a lot of these countries really have their social issues come apparent into the comics. I kind of noticed that.
Yeah.
A lot of them aren't always just fun-loving, silly, cheesy superheroes.
Interesting.
Yeah, and one of them in particular was one was from India,
Okay.
and the superhero is actually named Mr. India.
Oh.
That's his name. And basically, just a quick synopsis: music teacher finds this special watch that turns him into Mr. India.
Interesting.
And his main thing is he fights corrupt bureaucrats, bad businessmen, and his main arch nemesis is Magambo, which is kind of like a bad guy that rules a lot of people. And so it's kind of interesting, instead of him fighting, a mutant or a monster, this and that, it's more he's fighting issues versus, political issues and stuff versus a bad guy, so to speak.
Interesting. Well, that's really cool. I guess I'll go with my first one, which is kind of an anthology series.
Okay.
It's 2000 AD, and it's a Great Britain, British Isles based comic.
Okay.
Or magazine, actually. They kind of implied. And it had some very interesting stuff stem off of it, which I will mention one of the little spokes of that wheel when I do my next one. But that's one I know a lot of people are familiar with and might not have known that it is British based. So that's 2000 AD.
Oh, okay.
So.
And then I have one from Spain.
Okay, cool.
Now this one is interesting. The name is Poffman.
I think I saw this in my research.
Okay.
I focused on Europe for mine.
Okay, so I love this one. This one, to compare it to an American comic, it'd be most comparable to Deadpool.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
Has a sidekick, Puff Cat, and it's like there was a cat and another person, and they merged into like one being. It's really, well, I'm not going to go into the specifics of the backstory, but the cat apparently can invent stuff, and it invents like quirky gadgets and that kind of thing. So it's Puff Man and Puff Cat, and he breaks the fourth wall a lot.
Huh.
So very
Deadpool or
very just
self-referential
chatty and smart aleck, and it's just very similar to, and some of the bad guys that are in this comic are like, there's a talking chair.
Interesting.
And he throws termites at it to defeat it because the termites eat the chair. It's really cheesy.
That sounds like a Deadpool thing. Like Deadpool would have been throwing something and you don't know what it was, and then all of a sudden everything starts disappearing as, oh, I've been throwing termites the entire time. So I can see that being a Deadpool thing.
Yeah.
But that's definitely cool. And that was from Spain, you said?
Yes, that's from Spain.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right. So my spoke of the wheel from 2000 AD is the Law.
Oh, yes.
He is the Law.
Yes.
Judge Dredd.
Woo!
Had his origins in this and is, of course, more of a British base. So a lot of people in the U.S. are familiar with Dredd, of course, from the Sylvester Stallone one. And then the more current one, which...
It was just called Dredd.
Yeah, which me and you both enjoyed that. And maybe one day we could discuss it more thoroughly. But that one... That, of course, if you don't know what Dredd is, he is the Law. He's judge, jury, and executioner. And he's basically a futuristic cop. And Mega City is his stomping grounds, and basically prowls the streets looking for crime, and he has the power to both be judge, jury, and executioner.
Correct.
So if he deems a crime, you've done a crime, you don't even get to see a judge sometimes. He can kill you on the spot and basically sentence people. So that's definitely one that I didn't know was actually based out of another country.
Yeah, that's really cool.
That was one that was kind of an eyebrow raise for me.
Yeah.
So once again, that's Great Britain for that one.
And I have one from Malaysia.
Interesting.
Yes. I'm probably going to pronounce this wrong, so I really apologize. But Chakak Man.
Okay.
It's Cick Man. Okay. So if anybody knows this. Commonly known as Gecko Man, like if you translate it.
Oh, okay.
But pretty much it's a ripoff of Spider-Man.
Oh.
So if you want to compare it to a comic book here versus there, long story short.
Something.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Go ahead. I'll let you finish. But I just had a thought.
Okay. So long story short, he drinks his coffee that's contaminated with a virus-carrying gecko. I don't know if the gecko's just chilling out in the coffee and his like sweat goes in. But anyway, he drinks this contaminated coffee and morphs into a mutant wall-crawling, bug-eating superhero.
Gecko.
Yeah. So if you want to compare it, it's kind of like between Spider-Man and Toad, because it kind of has some similar stuff with Toad and Spider-Man.
Or the lizard.
Yeah, the lizard. But there was actually a big superhero movie with the name, the Cock Man, or however you say it, and it was so popular it did spawn a sequel.
Oh.
Yeah, so cool.
I'm assuming that was over in the Malaysian country.
Yes.
Correct. I don't know if I missed that here in the US.
Probably straight to DVD here.
If it even came out here.
Right. But yeah, so from Malaysia.
So I think something interesting, and I'm just kind of, I guess we're getting more episode ideas from just discussing this.
Right.
But maybe we should cover sometime other countries' interpretations of our heroes.
True.
Because I know that I think it's Japan has an interpretation of Spider-Man where he actually has a mech.
Nice.
Like
That's
a giant
actually
mech.
cool.
I think. I'm not 100%. Like I said, I did not do research on that. It's just
Right.
when you mentioned that kind of made it click in my head that there are other countries' interpretations of our heroes, which might be something fun to cover one day.
Right.
But for now, we are talking about
comics or superheroes from other countries. Yes, exactly.
Now, I don't know if you would call him a superhero. I don't know if he would
Anti-hero, maybe?
For who?
No, I was saying, you were saying, I don't know if you call him a superhero. I was like, is it like an anti-hero?
No.
Oh, okay.
He's the Doctor.
Oh, with the blue box?
Yes. Doctor Who has apparently had a ongoing comic series. I know that there are some in the U.S.
They do have them in the U.S.
But
yes.
I know there is also some, apparently. I'm still in Great Britain right now, so...
Mm-hmm. You love Great Britain, apparently.
When I was doing my research, I focused on Europe, so
okay, that's fine.
That's where I found kind of a nice vein of stuff to pull from, and I knew that you would probably go all over the world, so I was like, I know I'm going to focus
world
on.
hopped.
I know I'm going to focus on, but that's something interesting that people might not be aware of, is that there, has been for a while now a Doctor Who comic as well, which follows, I'm assuming, the adventures of whatever incarnation the Doctor is available at the time.
Multiple incarnations.
So
yes.
that's one for your Whovian fans.
Ooh, nice. I'm a Whovian, so that's exciting.
There you go. Maybe you should check out some of the
I probably
ones
will.
from Great Britain.
All right.
From the comics.
Well, let's go another part of the world.
All right.
We're going to go to South Africa.
All right, cool. Let's jump on that plane.
Jet Jungle.
Okay.
Yes. Geeky professor type of person. Has a sidekick and a pet tiger. It started out in the 60s on the radio. And then it was so popular,
So
it went
was
into
it was a radio play sort of thing.
Right. And then
so it's the reverse of what Superman, because they used to have Superman stuff after the comics came out. They used to read the comics sort of as radio plays.
Okay. Well, this was a radio play, and then it got so popular it went into a comic form.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it's huge over there. Huge
really?
cultural icon.
That's very cool.
And
so basically the equivalent of a Superman here over there.
Well,
okay.
I'm going to stop you.
Oh, okay.
Okay, since I'm having fun comparing them to the American comics.
All right.
So let's see if we can guess. No superpowers.
All right.
Okay. Has lots of gadgets.
Iron Man.
Iron Man, Batman.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So either one, correct. So he doesn't have any superpowers or anything. Very good with gadgets and all that stuff.
Inspector Gadget?
I know, right? Apparently it has lots of space adventures as well.
Oh, that's cool.
So kind of a neat. I kind of want to read up on this person, so
awesome.
Actually read a little bit more. But yeah, from South Africa, Jet Jungle.
I'm going to do two real quick, because these technically the characters didn't originate in these countries, but they have had long-running comic stints in these countries. Okay. One of them being Transformers. The original Transformers apparently had a Marvel UK run that was very popular and very
that
different.
They only did over there?
It was an adaptation of what we did in the US, of what was done in the US.
Okay.
But it was different enough that they made sure to differentiate that was a different kind of continuity to an extent.
Okay.
So that's kind of interesting there. And of course, I'm a huge Transformers fan, if you didn't already know that. So that one was kind of one that I was unaware that they took that jump with the Marvel UK version of it.
That is cool.
And another one, and I got a fun fact about the US version of this. They apparently took the video game character Sonic in the United Kingdom and turned him into a comic book icon in Sonic the Comic.
Oh.
But the US version, now I'm jumping back to the US version real quick, is apparently the longest running comic based on a video game character.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's I think it ended, I might be wrong on that, but yeah, they had apparently a UK version of it, which was Sonic the Comic, and had its own continuity, of course, to try to promote and get the game, more attention on the game. But I just thought that was interesting.
That is interesting.
On two ones that we're familiar with in the U.S., but yet
they have
another country had its own sort of continuity and version of it. And I guess that will wrap up my adventures in Great Britain, but I'm not taking that far of a jump with my next one.
Okay.
The Franco-Belgian, so, of course, Belgian and France. There we go, sorry. Of course, Belgian and France ones have some interesting ones that I don't think a lot of people would be familiar with. The first one I'm going to do from the Franco and Ellie's got some. It's just I had one or two more, and there's kind of little quick hits. So it's 13. Now that's of course XIII, and if that sounds familiar to video game fans,
video game.
That was actually one of the first cel-shaded games.
Was it PS2 or
PS2, yes.
Okay.
And I'm not saying it's the first. I'm saying it's one of the first.
Right.
And that also featured the voice of Batman himself.
Oh.
Adam West.
Nice.
Was in that game. And
so
it wasn't
shark repellent Batman.
Yes, that Batman. So that's just an interesting thing that he was in a video game adaptation of that comic.
Yeah.
So, Ellie, if you would.
Well, we're going to spin around the world again. We're going to go to Bolivia.
Okay.
Super Cholita
Interesting.
is a plus-sized female superhero. And it's kind of interesting because, you know, if you're familiar with superheroes, especially the female kind, most of them are not plus-sized.
They are working on that. I've noticed a lot more of the character designs are getting more realistically proportioned and more...
I mean, you have Wonder Woman that's Amazonian.
Which I do enjoy when they draw her. I mean, I of course like when they draw her, you know, in the more, I don't know, you say it. I feel I'm going to sound like a terrible person if I say it. The more curvy version of her.
The more real woman.
Well, no, they have some, and I know we're getting distracted.
I have seen her drawn skinny-ish, and then the bigger size.
The Earth 1 version of her is a little bit more like she's got muscle, like
she's leaner.
No, she's buff.
Oh, she's buff.
She's buff
Okay.
in that.
Okay.
Which, I mean, of course, a lot of people are used to seeing her very lean, very sleek.
Right.
Which I don't have a problem with, but I kind of like it when they do her because
she's an Amazon.
Yeah.
I mean,
and another
she
one,
should.
the movie they did, the one where it was New Frontier.
Okay, yeah.
She was actually drawn bigger than Superman.
Yeah.
Like she was buffer than Superman, and it
bulky.
looked good. It looked great because like she actually has a scene where her and Superman are kind of like staring each other down, and she looks imposing because she's bigger than him.
No,
and that
that's
was
awesome.
And that I random rant real quick, but
it's okay.
I like that, and I know they're doing it with a lot of other characters.
That's why I brought her up, is because I think it's great that she is a plus-size female superhero, because not everybody's the same size, and so it's good. I think she's kind of funny. I almost consider her anti-hero.
Oh, another Deadpool-esque character.
Well, she has flight.
Okay.
So that is one of her powers. But she kind of goes on both sides of the fence. She likes to help the poor. She has issues against people with looting and corrupt politicians. But she'll bribe a police officer to get her off the hook if she's doing something. So
interesting.
It is an interesting character, you know. So she likes both sides of the fence when it comes to stuff. But she's kind of cool.
She's a good guy when it's beneficial to her.
Yes.
And she does what she needs to get the job done.
Maybe more like Robin Hood type thing. Like she'll rob to help the poor. Like she'll do stuff for the greater good. But so yes. But she's I think she's pretty interesting as well.
All right. The next two are just two real quick that, I mean, I'm saving my last one because my last one I think is going to be a discussion for a minute. But the Smurfs. Yes, the little blue white hat Gargamel running from Smurfs.
Used to only be one female. Now I think in the new movie there's multiple, but anyway.
Yeah, there is a new movie coming out. But apparently that is based on a comic.
Nice.
Now, I'm sure that's more of a comic strip as opposed to a graphic novel, but that one's one
and there are graphic novels in the United States for them as well.
Yes, I actually, we apparently own one.
Yes.
I found that in the basement the other day when we were going through stuff. But yes, I think I got that as a kid. But moving on from that, so apparently that, like I said, it's one I remember as a kid, but it's something that I thought that those are adaptations from the show, but apparently it was the opposite way around.
Cool.
So that one is one, of course, from Franco-Belgian one once again, which the last two of mine are actually, mine were basically from either Great Britain or from the Franco-Belgian region. So I have two more real quick. So I guess I'll do my second to last one since you said you had one more. Mm-hmm. The Adventures of Tintin, which might sound familiar. It's a very kind of crime-solvey, detective-y stuff, but there was a movie done by Steven Spielberg, which was a CG one that was done fairly recently, within the past 10 years, and that was done based on this comic that has run for a very long time. So that was definitely a cool one.
Don't forget 1010's dog.
So the dog, of course, is called Snowy, and that's his little, oh my gosh, I just blanked on what kind of dog it is. It's one of the little tiny, very European dogs. Mm-hmm. And that's his little partner through those adventures. But they've had a lot of stuff with that, and I think they were... Oh, Peter Jackson also worked on the movie, too. And apparently they were going to do a sequel, but it's up in the air now. But that one's one that I know is influential to a lot of older generations before, comics were as big as they are in the U.S. now. So that's definitely an interesting one. And you.
I can't not mention somebody from Japan.
Oh, God.
It's not who you think it is, but his name is Ultraman.
Oh.
You know who this is?
Yes, I thought you were going with something else.
I know, that's what I said. It's not who you think I'm going to say. But there's a team member, Shin Hayata, is from a group called the Science Special Search Party. And
it sounds like a Japanese movie.
Exactly. Think of like Godzilla type thing.
Didn't he fight some giant monsters? Or are you going to get into that?
Well, if you'd let me talk.
Okay, fine. Awesome. Go ahead.
But there's this group, the Science Special Search Party, and they're kind of in charge of, just making sure that the world is at peace and getting new technology and also, kind of scanning for any kind of aliens or any kind of life out there that might attack us. And they come across basically a very formidable foe, big alien. So this one particular person of the team, Shin Hayata, he transforms into this giant from space called Ultraman. And they have adventures, and he basically creatures like Godzilla and that kind of thing.
He doesn't actually fight Godzilla, to the best of my knowledge.
No, it's similar to...
But giant... Hold on, I got it.
Okay.
Giant kaiju.
Yes.
There we go.
Yes. They did not leave anything out. So this guy has pretty much multiple powers that you could think of.
So
strength.
Golden Age Superman?
Well, yeah, he has strength.
Okay.
Flight.
Okay.
He does have self-replication. Laser beams.
From his eyes?
I'm not sure. It just said laser beams, so I'd have to look more into that.
From his feet. Got it.
And then teleportation.
Why not?
So just, I feel like they just took a bag and were just shaking it up and being like, which one do we want to pull out of the hat? This is what he has.
No. I think I got it. It was one of those. They're like, oh, we need him to be somewhere real quick. Oh, I forgot to write that in.
Right.
Just give him teleportation.
Why add it. They were just adding powers as they go.
Just add it.
Yeah, so I kind of enjoyed that. I thought that was pretty cool that he just kind of had a whole big bag of stuff. And the fact that he was like, oh, we have this really big baddie that we can't defeat. Let me just transform into a giant space creature monster thing to defeat people. So I mean,
he kept his human form, though, right?
Yeah.
When he transformed, he's just a big human that
giant
fights. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes,
so,
awesome.
Interesting.
And I know, of course, we've kind of mentioned it, but they did make a TV show or movie. I know that there was something on screen with him on it, because I know I've seen stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll move on to the last one I looked up.
Okay.
And I'm going last because I think this one will be... It's quite interesting considering stuff that we've discussed and certain things that have been mentioned on the podcast before, but this is a French-based one.
Okay.
And it is Valerian and Laureline.
Oh, yeah.
Now, why does that sound familiar to you?
Might be off of a movie that's coming out.
Yes, Valerian and the City of 1,000 Planets, which will be released later this year, is based on this comic, which is French in origin, and of course, Luc Besson is the one that will be doing this movie. Now, interesting fact. This movie has influenced a lot more than just its own movie. I mean, this comic has influenced a lot more than just a movie. It's influenced other movies, including one of Luc Besson's own works, The Fifth Element. So that had some influence there, which is, I think, very interesting. And of course, this is basically set in space, spaceships, a ton of sci-fi. Like, basically, imagine any sci-fi thing, and it has to do with this. This came out in the late 1960s, so it also had an influence over another very popular sci-fi series, Star Wars.
Nice.
Which, I don't know, we've discussed before. Possibly.
A little bit.
But apparently, this had a big influence on that, like the Millennium Falcon, the fight scene between Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader, and on Cloud City apparently had some influence, some parallels with this. Another very interesting one is, I don't want to spoil anything, but apparently the comic, there's a scene in it, The Empire of 1,000 Planets, which I guess is the vague name for the movie that's going to be coming out, The City of 1,000 Planets. But
Right.
I don't know if it's a direct interpretation or not. I haven't really got that out of it. But apparently there's a scene in it where Valerian is encased in liquid plastic, very similar to a character in
Carbonite.
Star Wars that was frozen in carbonite,
Yeah.
Han Solo. So
Right.
there's another interesting little tidbit there.
Yeah.
Another thing, and I'm sorry, there is a list of just the common threads between these, but the concept of the Clone Wars, where a whole army is cloned off of one person, being Valerian himself, faces themselves in a final scene. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
That once again, the cloned army. I mean, clones are not the most. They're very commonly used, I think, sometimes, but that's kind of interesting how much this borrowed from and how much influence it
Oh,
had
no,
over
definitely.
a movie that had gone on to influence so much more.
Right.
And of course, you can buy these and find them. There is a lot of them. They ran from, like I said, the late 60s to actually 2010.
Okay.
So, I mean, they ran for a long time. There's several graphic novels, several things based on it. So, if you're interested in sci-fi, definitely check out Valerian and Laureline, and, of course, check out the movie that's coming out as well.
Oh, and I forgot to mention something, too, with Ultraman.
Oh,
Is just being that we just watched Power Rangers.
yes.
When
Was there a crossover?
Well, no. When we were kind of talking about what his form looked like.
Yeah.
So, I guess the best comparison would be Power Rangers, because some of the scenes from it was a TV show, but some of the scenes were very Power Ranger-esque.
Oh, yes.
like just his costume when he became the giant form,
Yeah.
and the monsters and the aliens that he fought definitely were very reminiscent of what we know and love with Power Rangers nowadays.
Yes, or Power Rangers kind of took from it.
Well, yeah, right.
Yeah,
I'm just because it came out in the 60s.
Yes.
But I just forgot to mention that
I kind of want to say that Ultraman is one of those things. If you imagine a guy fighting one of the giant monsters, you're probably thinking of Ultra. If you're recollecting
Right.
an instance of something that's not the Power Rangers fighting a giant monster, and it's a human doing it, I'm pretty sure you're thinking of Ultraman.
Yeah.
then.
So, but I thought that was kind of cool and relevant considering we just
I didn't
saw,
know that wasn't based on a manga, so that's interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's kind of our trip, a quick trip around the world with different, I know we kind of just briefly touched on each of them. Now, a ton of the stuff we've talked about have been, like we said, comic strips, and I'm sure that, possibly some of the Japanese ones you've talked about have been in mangas as well.
Right, yeah.
And these have been just interpreted through so many different avenues. I mean, like I said, the Valerian stuff, Valerian Laureline, had a big influence on Star Wars, which I was unaware of. And of course, it's had influences. Star Wars has influenced tons of other stuff. So it's a really cool thing to kind of learn where some of this stuff could have had its origins in. And I'm sure that we'll probably talk about the Valerian movie some more when it comes out, if we see it.
we see it.
Sorry, when we see it. Because I'm sure you're excited to see it because you like the Luc Besson movies. And maybe we could discuss possibly, I don't know, Fifth Element before it comes out.
Yeah.
And I'm a big fan of just the way this looks. It looks like a very beautiful movie. So
it looks gorgeous.
So this gave me an excuse that I didn't even know I was going to get to talk about. This. So
Yeah.
this was a fun conversation. And I guess we're going to take a quick break. And when we get back, got some other stuff to kind of wrap up with.
Yep.
This is, as always, Zeng This.
Zing this.
Zeng This.
Zing this.
All right, welcome back, everybody.
Hello.
So we're gonna read. We have a few comments to read that we've gotten on our past few episodes. So we're gonna tackle those real quick. And our first one is from Paul.
Okay.
He is actually the host of the Varmints podcast on Blazing Caribou Studios.
Yes.
And they talk about, and I actually was listening
Most
to
recently, mosquitoes.
Yes, they have mosquitoes. They also have jackalopes, which are the bunnies with the horns on them. It was an April Fool's one, but it's done really funny. And I actually found out about something. I was listening to their goldfish one today.
Oh.
Did you know that the goldfish is an invasive species in Australia?
No, I did not.
Yeah, it's apparently causing a lot of havoc in Australia, but at the same time, Australia has a lot of problems with invasive species because it's it's a giant island and it's been isolated, so certain things can get in there. But getting sidetracked, great podcast. They talk about different animals every week. It's a great podcast. Definitely recommend it. That's Varmints once again. But let's get to his comment he wrote us.
Yeah.
Once again, that's the Varmints podcast on Blazing Caribou Studios.
Check them out.
Yeah. Comment time.
So he basically said, what does Joss Whedon do really, really, really well? The thing that immediately came to my mind was create a character that you fall in love with and then kill him/her.
So you're a big fan of Joss Whedon.
I am.
And would you agree with that?
And sometimes, some parts, yes.
Now, I'd love to get into a discussion about this, but I think that this might qualify as a future episode for us, to where we can look at, I mean, obviously,
I can talk about Joss Whedon for an hour easily.
So there we go. So definitely have a future episode. We want to thank you for giving us that little tidbit there. We wish we could talk more about it now, but I think we could do an entire...
We will go back to that.
Yes, it will be something to look for in the future that we can definitely do one on, because there's a lot of stuff he's done that I enjoy as well.
Oh, yeah.
And that both of us enjoy. So we're going to go to our other comment now. All right, and we have another comment. This one actually is back from our Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, from David Ginsburg, host of the Tales from the Fandom podcast.
Really enjoyed getting to hear this episode finally. Was a much different discussion versus Episode 1. Surprised to hear that this one is on the bottom of Zinger's list of Star Wars movies.
Dun, dun, dun.
Would have enjoyed hearing your thoughts on favorite Jedi characters and the inclusion of EU characters, expanded universe, just in case somebody doesn't know what that is, like Ayla Sakura transitioning from comics to the movie. Also, no love for the wonderful costumes that Natalie Portman rocked, which is so true. She did have some gorgeous, gorgeous stuff. The lake dress is one of the most iconic outfits of the prequels, besides the Amidala dress in Episode 1.
Good point.
Yep. I think this movie also gets better once you delve into the EU stuff. Of course, not this episode, where they flesh out a lot of the things Obi-Wan and Anakin mention, and of course the epic Clone Wars show that bridges 2 and 3. Really enjoyed the episode and excited for Episode 3 review.
So we did point out in a comment back to him, we did point out earlier in this very episode that we will cover some some extended universe stuff, mostly dealing with Legends.
Right.
In
May.
And I think we should point out some of our favorite Jedi, possibly. We could do that in Episode 3, or we could do that in the Legends one, because we could possibly discuss, their Legends origins or their Legends contributions, thank you, versus their in-canon contributions. So thanks David for that comment. We actually have another one from him on our previous episode, the Tommy Westfall discussion.
Yes.
And he actually pointed out one that I'm surprised we both did not mention. Especially you, though.
I know me. I'm sorry.
So if you would like.
Yeah. He put one of my favorite Westfall bits is when Richard Castle from Castle, who is Nathan Fillion, dresses as Malcolm Reynolds from Firefly for Halloween. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, there's a lot of, I know in different shows, a lot of that referentialness to other shows that the actor has been in or characters they played. So that's definitely a nifty one there. And thanks for the comment.
Oh yes, we love them. Thank you so much.
If any of you guys would like to leave comments, you can of course tweet them at us, or you can of course do it on our Facebook page as well. Both is at Zeng This for our Twitter, and of course just search Zeng This on Facebook as well. So thank you guys for the comments and the feedback. And of course, you can find both of their podcasts, I'm sure, on whatever you're listening to us on.
Yes.
As well, especially iTunes or Google Play. I'm sure you can find them on. That's, once again, Tales from the Fandom, which, nudge, nudge, hint, hint, might want to listen to some upcoming episodes on there.
Yeah, maybe.
Nudge, nudge, hint, hint. And you can also listen to the Varmints podcast as well. So I guess let's talk about how they can listen to us, or what are the ways they can listen to us on.
Yes, of course. Well, of course, SoundCloud.
Zeng This.
Yeah. iTunes.
Zeng This. And don't forget, leave us a 5-star review. We greatly appreciate those. They help us out more than you'll ever know. So it helps us, of course, get notoriety and get more people to, of course, listen to us. And we appreciate that so we can reach more people within our fandom.
Yes. And maybe get more people to talk to us and
comment.
Leave comments.
Comment and tweet at us.
Yay. You can also get us on Stitcher.
Tuned in and Google Play.
Yep. If you want to leave comments, try to get in touch with us. Facebook.
As we already said, Zeng This.
Yeah.
Twitter as well, at Zeng This. Instagram.
At Zeng This Podcast.
If you want to check us out playing some video games, we are at Twitch.
Bang, bang, shoot, shoot.
Why not?
I'm doing that right now because I'm playing a lot of Mass Effect. Sorry.
And that, of course, is twitch.tv/Zeng This. If you want to help contribute to the podcast, you can, of course, go to...
I'm going to try it. www.patreon.com/zingthis.
Is that your announcer voice?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
That's pretty awesome.
We'll use that some more. Probably never.
Okay.
If you want to get in touch with us directly, you can, of course, always email us. That is zingthis@gmail.com.
Yes.
And our music today is actually
What?
from a fan of the podcast, from a good friend of the podcast and a fan.
Aaron Shelb.
And he actually has a new CD coming out. I will, of course, put details down in the description of the episode.
Yes.
But we're actually going to give you one of his songs at the end of this episode. It is called Black and White.
Yeah.
And you can, of course, find him on his website, which is...
AaronShelb.com.
And he has a Facebook page as well, which is his name plus music. And if you want to spell that for people real quick, just so they can make sure to get his name right.
First name and last name?
Why not? Just to be sure.
Aaron, as in 2 A's, Aaron. Last name Shelb, Schilb.
And that CD is, of course, called Tonic. That will be out on April 14th.
Awesome.
And you can find that, of course, on Spotify and iTunes as well. So definitely check him out. Like I said, we greatly appreciate him being a fan of ours. And also, we just enjoy the fact that we're using his song to end this episode today.
Yeah, that's exciting.
So thank you guys. And as always, I'm Zenger.
And I'm Ellie.
And we'll see you guys next week. Enjoy.
Every night I think about the past, and I see why it didn't last. It's black and white, the days and night. Every night I remember you're gone, and I hate to say life goes on. I've tried and tried, these thoughts I can't hide. Whoa. So why can't we know we're in the good old days before we've left them? Why can't we know that we need to take our time? Because I want to know why I can't go on a day without you. I want to know why. I want to know why. And every day I hope you'll be there, watching and waiting, so sweet, so scared. I want to know try something new. But all I want is to be with you. You're all I've got. My hopes, my thoughts. Whoa. So why can't we know we're in the good old days before we left them? Why can't we know that we need to take our time? Because I want to know why I can't go on a day without you. Now I wanna know why. I wanna know why. So why can't we know we're in the good old days before we've left them? Why can't we know that we need to take our time? Because I want to know why.